Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah for being with us on this week's An-Nur the Light. We have experienced a tumultuous few weeks where people have lost their lives and their livelihoods. It is not only in times of ease that we are defined, but more importantly, in times of hardship. Dimple Aisha is a sister who is inspiring and motivating. Check out the story we did with her.
Being a creative soul comes naturally to highly talented Dimple Aisha. Designer, radio presenter, artist and mom are some of the words used to describe her, but this by no means is going to be all.
I'm an African, mother of 3 boys, a Tanzanian wife and a proud African Muslim. I'm a lover of development. Women empowerment, yes, but a bit of mixed feelings, but it's all about social empowerment and more of the local economic development, because there's such an imbalance. But for me, anything that's got to do with humanitarian and social upliftment, that says me, it resonates with Dimple.
The road to success is often filled with obstacles, and navigating these are what makes or breaks an individual. Aisha recognizes her weaknesses as well as her strength and makes sure to nurture each one of it equally.
The whole course is called the 5 Pillars of Empowerment, and it's a course that's sponsored by Women of Stature and Nedbank. It's a business course, but firstly, I think with everything else, you have to fix what's within yourself. So we do personal branding and personal mastery with that, and with art as well, because you can't empower other people whereas you're not empowered. But sometimes when you're a people's person or you love doing community work, you give up so much of yourself and then you get so drained. The painting day was amazing because it relieved the child in me. I always thought I'm such a bad artist. Like I say, I've always thought I'm not creative, but the painting, it brought out something in me where you put yourself and just completely forget about the existence of anything and just focus on you and your inner self and your inner feelings and play with that, and actually anything just becomes what you see and what you believe in, and having to pick what you put on your collages, like what resonates with you. What I had in the picture was a splash of paint with all my mixed emotions, the brokenness, the storms of everything in my life were all in that colors. And the wording that came for me was dreams are the whispers of the soul. And half the time I personally felt I gave up on so much of my dreams to leave for certain things. And at that moment, I needed my dreams to be the whispers of my soul. So in that painting and in that color, that's where I had my dreams.
Being a radio presenter came quite naturally and allowed Dimple Aisha to create a show where she's able to engage with people from all walks of life.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Common Space. The time is 10 minutes past 10 and I am with my co-host Mamolefe, and we've missed you guys. So we were asked and approached by Salam Media because we've collaborated with them in their previous campaigns in the township areas, it's basically in Attridgeville in Pretoria. So when they approached us, they wanted to have a show, and it kind of sounded very crazy, like I have no radio experience or nothing, and how do you get us on air? So the Common Space was for them to allow everybody to come into the space, and Salam Media allowed us to be diverse, as that where we interview people who are from all diverse angles of South Africa. So it's basically sharing untold stories of everyday people. That's mainly what the show is. My clothing line is about identity of myself, of my inner being, and acknowledging who I am without fail, and accommodating that I'm Muslim. So it's a modest African way, which is more about the stuff that I personally like. With the African kimono, it's sort of wanting something that's easy and light for women. You know, we love jeans. Sometimes we're not properly dressed and you always worry, oh, I'm not covered well enough. And with that, it was just throw over. But now it was something that, like, again, it still had to resonate with the identity of me being an African Muslim, but also the love of either Western or Indian fashion fabric, because I love fabric. So it doesn't matter which fabric it is. So putting it together with that, with harem clothing, was to say we're embracing all identities. So we're doing that. So the Afri kimono was blending it all together and saying we're modest, we're African, and the kimono is going to be all diverse.
No person gets to where they are without the support of family and friends, and Dimple Aisha can count on hers to be there whenever she needs them.
Having my hands in different pies is for me to have an impact in life. I think that's the biggest thing for me. And being a Muslim, I struggled a lot with my self-esteem, with myself as a person, because I come from Lesotho. It's a very small country, and I've always been black, and there was nothing wrong with that. You know, I never had to validate myself or affirm myself in a community, and then I moved full-time to South Africa. Yeah, then there's race and all that, and then I became Muslim, and that like the highlight of it, where race was really an issue, and I always had to have my fences up and defend myself, which was emotionally draining. So me being part of certain projects that I've been in was for me to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to prove myself, and show people that as a black person, as a Muslim, I am South African. You know, because even the black people, when they see you, they think, oh, you're a foreigner, and they speak about you and assume you can't hear. But it's just to raise awareness to the people that there are black South African Muslims living amongst us, and also that you can be black and want to be something and want to be a change maker and do all that. So that what drives me to do most of the stuff that I do.
In order to live fulfilled lives, we often stretch ourselves to the limit and sometimes even beyond. This is okay if we are able to replenish what we expend in meaningful ways. As Dimple Aisha is finding it, it takes a lot to attain the empire you're looking for, but with hard work, anything is possible.
Our mental health has been taking a beating lately, and this is where Sister Zainab Ibrahim has proven to be invaluable. Her words in this precarious time in our lives could help ease the load. Over to the wellness segment.
I greet you with a universal greeting of peace. Today we're going to speak about mindfulness. And mindfulness, by definition, is the quality of being conscious, of being aware, and of being present in the moment. Mindfulness is the state of being conscious with the one that has granted us consciousness. We live in a world where we subconsciously are always focused on the next moment, which means when we are in the present moment, we're not really here. And the focus then becomes, what am I doing next? And when I get there, the focus then becomes, okay, what am I doing next? And we lose out on the opportunity of being present. And yet being present and being mindful has so many, many benefits. And I'll just list a few. This includes having a better relationship with others, because when you're interacting with someone and you're very present, you're very focused on what they have to say, which means that they feel that you're very attentive and you actually value what they have to say. And the automatic result of that is that your relationship improves. Being mindful also improves your productivity, because when you're doing something but you're very present, you're then very focused on the task at hand, and it just becomes easy and effortless. And mindfulness also improves your emotional state, because when you're present, you really feel at peace with yourself, and it's a great place to be. We typically are either stuck in the past, or we are present, or we are worried about the future. And this is an example of a timeline. And as the Quran says, by time man is at loss, except those that have faith. And my understanding of that is, I am at a loss when I am not present. Because when I am either stuck in the past or worried about the future, I never really have an opportunity to be present. What you will notice that the only thing that remains constantly in the present is our physical bodies. And when we are able to align our mind and bring it back to the present moment, we automatically become aligned with our physical body. And the result of that is we all become spiritually aligned as well. And therefore, many mindfulness practices include using the physical body. Whether it's walking in nature, you'll notice that when you walk in nature, you're in your body and you become automatically present. And that is why when you're done with a walk in nature, you feel really, really good. Whether it's performing your 5 daily prayers, if you bring your focus just to the movement of that prayer, you'll notice you bring yourself back to the present moment. And therefore, you reap the benefits of that practice. Even when it comes to circumambulating the Kaaba, in the movement of that, we bring ourselves back to the present moment awareness. And therefore, we understand and we reap the benefits thereof. And whether it's practices like yoga, which has been proven to be extremely beneficial as it brings us back into our bodies, and our mind and our body is in the same place at the same time. And hence we feel really, really good after a yoga class. And that applies to meditation as well. Very physical in your body, but also bringing your mind back to the present moment. And these are just a few examples where you can practice mindfulness. So being mindful doesn't mean that you don't have to plan ahead. However, when you do plan ahead, you can still be very aware of where you are in the present moment. As when you have goals that you'd like to achieve, you can never get there from there. You can only get there from here. So be mindful, be conscious, be aware in the present moment. I do know and I understand that it takes years of practice to achieve constant awareness and constant present moment awareness. However, we can start from today. So I encourage you to practice mindfulness. Tap into the peace and the tranquility within. And you can start today by practicing mindfulness and being aware as you take it moment by moment and ultimately improve your state of mind and your quality of being. I thank you for your time and for this opportunity, and I wish you all the best.
As a Muslim community, our history has been linked to this country since its very founding. Over the course of this show, we've often looked at this, and this week we visit Worcester in the Western Cape to learn more about the Muslims there.
The town of Worcester in the Western Cape was officially founded around 1820, but it had already been in existence for over a century by that time. Early Cape Dutch farmers set up here to supply much-needed agricultural products to the ever-growing city of Cape Town. With them came a labour force consisting of slaves and artisans who worked these lands and settled within the valley. Amongst them were Muslims who by then formed a significant portion of people living in the Cape.
According to my research I've done in Worcester for the last 200 years, here has always been Muslims here. The first evidence I found of Muslims was in the year 1818, when Nasira Jaram was born. She was born in the year 1818. Worcester was established in the year 1820. So she was born before the establishment of Worcester. Nasira Jaram's father, Juri Jaram, he came from Cape Town. He was born in the year 1800. So if Nasira was born in 1880, Worcester was not yet established, then that gives me indication here was a population long before the establishment.
In 1881, the first mosque was established where the faithful could pray, and it became the center of Muslim life in the town. Records indicate that the mosque was burnt down by British troops during the Anglo-Boer War, but Queen Victoria committed to paying for the rebuilding thereafter.
I was at the Khadat, at some house, and there was a Sadan from Cape Town attending this Khadat. So one Sunday, me, my father's brother Sulaiman, we went to go visit Buddha Ali. And when we went to go visit Buddha Ali, he gave me 2 documents. And one document was a document that was written from the Queen's office to Imam Muhammad Sadan of Worcester, that's saying that the masjid was burned, that the masjid was destroyed. And this letter was dated in February 1901. So in August 1901, the Queen wrote back that they have a royal visit. That on their royal visit they will come to Worcester to see if the preparation is done to rebuild the mosque. And so she didn't come to do a royal visit, but she sent somebody to come see if it was done. And alhamdulillah, yeah, it was done. The military actually burned down the mosque. The reason until today is unknown.
A number of religious leaders come and go over the course of its history. They have been the glue that held the community together, and their function continues through their successors.
The previous ulama, Sheikh Masusa, I believe, was here. And obvious before him, Sheikh Latu, Muhammad Latu, Rahmatullah alayh. I can speak of Sheikh Latu, which I heard of what people told me of Sheikh Latu, Rahmatullah alayh, what a good man he was and how he kept the community together for more than 30 years, alhamdulillah. When I came into Worcester, I tried to follow suit, just to do like how the people used to listen and to follow the Imam. And alhamdulillah, I'm still carrying on with the same work what they left behind, alhamdulillah.
Muslims were often highly skilled artisans, and this enabled to become highly employable. Tailors particularly were sought after, and there are still some practicing this trade in the town today.
Toe ek begin werk het was gewees met die klerewerk 1962. Toe het my broer gevra ek moet vir hom kom werk. Maar my vader was alreeds 'n tailor gewees van in die vroeë 30 jare. Toe was hy al 'n kleremaker gewees. En sy pa was ook 'n kleremaker voor hom gewees. So my broer het by my pa geleer werk. In 1962, toe ek nog begin werk het, toe was dit nou wat die tailorwerk eintlik in Worcester optel. Vinnig en baie kleremakers het opgekom toe hy tyd. Maar dis waar ek my werk geleer het by my broer.
Town was alive with activity, and its market square became the place where food, wares and slaves were sold. The slave bell can also still be seen and has been preserved as a reminder of what should never be again.
Here was slave in Worcester. All colored people, all brown people come from slavery. We just don't know it. But in case of Muslim slaves, there were Muslim slaves, but there were few Muslim slaves. There were more free blacks, free slaves, free Muslim slaves than there were slaves. The only slave, I found a few slaves, but one of the slaves I found was Ahmad Skeepers. He came on one of the Brandwag farms, and I found his ancestry later in Worcester. The skippers and skeepers also lived in this area. So there were quite a lot of slaves. Even if I think now back, when I did Nasira Jaram's ancestry, her husband, Kamis Abdul, his father was also a slave brought from Stellenbosch. That also later was bought from a Muslim slave owner with the name of January van Bengalen. So here were Muslim slave owners as well. So here were slaves. All brown people come from slaves. And there were Muslim slaves, but they were little Muslim slaves who were more free blacks.
Many rural towns retain their family units for generations. Auntie Fagma's own family history includes them owning the horse and cart that took the Muslims to the nearby town of Strand, where they performed the weekly congregational Jumu'ah prayers on a Friday.
Ek sal so sê, die van tevore het my oupa by die slagpale gewerk. En behalve dit het hy gehad 'n kapkar wat die taxi gewees het wat gery het in die dorp na die stasie toe. En die eerste trein wat in die oggend ingekom het hulle genoem die vooraf. Dan het die kapkar gegaan om die mense wat van onder af gekom het op te laai om na huise toe te bring of wat mense wat kom besoek het in Worcester om die mense na hulle huise toe te neem. Nou dit was die eerste taxi van Worcester, maar dit was 'n perekar.
The history of the Muslim community has not been researched in detail until Enver Sadan sat down and decided to focus his energy on this. It has been slow at times, but his efforts are not in vain.
From all the research I've done, Alhamdulillah, I'm going to do a book about Islam, about all the families, and hopefully for all the families, what I can find about the families, and put that info into the book. 100 years from now, few years from now, the generation that comes can use that book as a book of lineage for them, inshallah. So in whatever additional info I can find about their ancestry, I would like to put it in the book, inshallah.
It is important for any community to know where they come from, so they know where they're going to. History not only allows the story of the past to be told, but it cements a place in the future for those who came before, the struggles they had, the people they were, and the foundation they laid for generations to come.
O mankind, we have created you from a single pair of a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes, so that ye may know each other, and not that ye may despise each other. Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is he who is the most righteous of you, and Allah has full knowledge and is well acquainted with all things. Words directly from the Holy Quran. From me, Mari Mukanda, Salang Handle, Assalamu alaikum.